Rack Report. Yo, what the lick read? Welcome back to the Rack Report. Today's episode is gonna be a little more personable today. Today we'll be honoring my brother G-Rip.
I'm thinking about the wrong thing. I know when I feel like I'm going insane. I know when I'm reaping, when I'm sowing. Ain't no more time to be playing games, knowing. When I'm thinking about the wrong thing. I know when I feel like I'm going insane. I know when I'm reaping, when I'm sowing. Ain't no more time to be playing games, knowing.
Today is his birthday. For those of you that don't know who G-Rip is, unfortunately, you probably won't get a chance to experience what we've all experienced over the years. There's not a lot of information out there on him, fanfare or none of that type of stuff, but for those that knew him, he's been one of the constants in underground hip hop in our culture. This is not one of those, I'm gonna give my brother his flowers while he's not here. I gave him his flowers when he was still here. Unfortunately, we lost him last year, a little bit around this time, and a lot of things we was working on, so a lot of questions went unanswered, a lot of things went unsaid, but for the most, being in those last times, I ain't gonna say a lot of work done, but we got enough work done for me to show what we've been doing. I've been holding this interview a little bit before I started the Rack Report, and one of those conversations we had this was one of the ideas I was telling them about that I was journeying off into. Obviously, for those of you that do follow me on YouTube in particular, which is PowerCircle TV, and feel free to go over there and, do your due diligence over there, wipe your feet, hit that red button, all that good stuff. And you will be able to see a few pieces of me and G-Rip's work, like the last couple videos before he passed. And if you go dig down deep in the archives, you can find some more things that we did. In that time, we put a lot of work in over the years. Songs and every unreleased songs that's probably I don't even have anymore. But I say all that to say, I want to just show tribute to my brother. I don't have to give him no flowers because we always gave each other flowers and we motivated each other and gave each other affirmations. So I talked to my dog on the daily when he was here. Still got his text message in my phone. It's kind of weird to look at it. And sometimes I often make mistakes damn near calling him. Like calling his phone. It's one of the few people, I only talk to a few people, and I talked to a handful of people and he was one of them. I talk to a lot less people on a daily, outside of business, but enough of that. Let's get right to it. Right around that time before he passed, we've conducted a few interviews, and one of those interviews was actually at his birthday party. I want to give a big shout out to my sister, Jessica Black, who's another artist y'all gonna be getting in tune with really, really soon, and I'm gonna talk about her and a few others on the Rack Report. I want to give my thoughts and prayers to my brother's family and his kids and Miss Jessica, because I know it ain't easy. With that being said, I conducted an interview with him and we never put it out. I got another signature show on PowerCircle TV entitled In the Stew, and we on our 4th season right now, which you will see Rip in action on that as well, just like you're about to see in his interview. An in-depth conversation with him where he answered a few questions so you kind of get familiar with who this brother really was. I'm gonna let him tell the story in his own words. I don't want to just be reading off accolades or telling you about my brother from my POV, but you're gonna hear from him. I'm gonna let you hear it in his own words and he can kind of articulate what he was saying. So what I'm gonna do for y'all is I want to give my brother his proper due. And since he couldn't make the Rack Report, today is his day. This is G-Rip Day today. So what we're gonna do is something real special. So I'm gonna have something for Instagram. I'm gonna throw a freestyle up there at some point in time. He's gonna be on the episode of In the Stew season 4, and he's definitely gonna be on the Rack Report doing his thing. But for right now, he's on the Rack Report doing an exclusive interview. I got a few interviews lined up already, and I thought that what would be more fitting to kick things off first for my first exclusive interview that I'm about to release to y'all is with none other than my brother G-Rip. I ain't finna do no more talking, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get out this chair, right? Now normally I would probably conduct the interview around here, but I think I wanna go back to where we started, so check this out. Right now I'm sitting on the very couch. He shot the video It's Gonna Be That, which is on PowerCircle TV and you can watch it now. And so I decided that it's only right to let me just put myself back in that place. I wanna feel like I'm there at the part 2 of this party. I don't wanna sit here and keep lip boxing, so let's just get to the interview. I wanna talk to my dog. Yo, Rip.
Yes, sir.
Could I ask a couple questions real quick?
Okay.
State your name for the people, champ.
Hey, my name is G-Rip. It means, actually, it's an acronym for God Reveals Incredible Power. It used to be Grammar Released, Instinctively Phenomenal, but, I had to change some of my ways and let God do what he do.
Right.
Yeah, from South Side of Shot, 60472, Robbins, Illinois. Born and raised there. Well, born in Granite City, out by St. Louis.
Right.
Raised in Robbins, that's where my roots are.
Tell us about your journey in music.
Okay, when I was in 5th grade, we had to do a commercial, and that was man, low key. That was like in '88.
So in '88 is when you caught the bug, right? Tell me, what was the time when you decided that, you know what, I'm gonna start taking this music thing serious? I think I really got something. So at that point, when did that happen?
Okay, so actually, when I started, all right, I was in a group with Popo and Cole.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we used to rap all the time. So Cole pretty much was, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say the Leonard Billups, because there's a lot of Coles out there. So we just gonna separate that. You know what I'm saying? So we was always out on Ridgeway, and Cole, he'd be the one that'd be pouring into me, man. Hey man, no, you guys deliver it like this. You gotta do it like that. So he was kind of like a coach, groom me in that. You know what I mean? So I started really taking it serious then. But see, at that time though, you had to fight to get in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't nobody letting you come to their studio. You know what I mean? You're like, man, can we come, man? Whatever. They tax you if you do come in there. They don't want to give you because we had 8 dash and dash. They didn't want to give us that. You know what I'm saying? So we having a hard time really getting in there. At that time, cell phones wasn't even really prevalent. You know what I mean? So a lot of ciphers and freestyles and stuff that we had, they were just lost. They just in the air.
You know what I mean? Art form of the cipher.
Exactly. The cipher was always crazy. Yeah,
I know that's why I said the magical.
Exactly.
The magical time.
Yeah, I think that was the first album that I dropped. That was the first album that I ever dropped at that time. Yeah, because I had a double cassette, so I was getting beats from different people, and I had a double cassette.
A double
cassette. So one side was the tape, the other side was the music, the other side was a blank tape. And I'd take my headphones and put them in the back of in the microphone hole, and that's how I was recording my album. So then once I recorded onto that, then I dubbed it to another tape. So I was dubbing each song, and then now I grabbed some more tapes and started dubbing them, and I'm passing them out through the land. That's when I started taking it serious. I remember
those days.
And then after that, I ended up moving. I moved to Champaign. So while I was down there in Champaign, I kept bumping into a whole bunch of hip hop guys. You're on a college campus. I'm in Champaign, you
right there.
Yeah. You bumping into a whole lot of different races or whatever, hip hop guys, DJs and stuff, you know what I'm saying? They putting beats together, they having ciphers and stuff, so I started doing it then. Papa was down there with me at the time too. So me and Papa, we down there rocking shows. It was a place called the Blind Pig at the time. So we rocking down there, whatever. So then we started, man, look, man, we need our own equipment.
That was gonna lead me up to my next question. So you and Papa decided to say, you know what, man, forget it, man. We gonna start getting our own equipment. So that led you to go into the production part of the game. So elaborate on that.
So we go to Guitar Center. Well, it was a Guitar Center? It wasn't Guitar. It musician.
Music in Motion?
No, it was in Champaign. They didn't have that down there. I'm trying to think where it was at. Anyway, it was a music store down there in Champaign where we was buying, so we bought a drum machine, and then I bought a 4-track. Actually, it started before I left and went to Champaign, because when we was in the group, it was me, Papa, and Cole. It was Logic, my man's Enrico Humphrey, it was Chris Hale, Joe Jameson. They was the Gate Dwellers. It was me, Logic, Crazy. We ended up being Cerebral Chaos. That was the name of ours. But see, before then, though, it was Popo, Cole, Crazy, Logic. They was the Psychotic Nomads. So they started with the Psychotic Nomads, you know what I'm saying? Then they kind of broke off, and then but we was all still cool, because, we family from Robbins, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the production actually started when I was always in the studio with Logic. Logic was the producer. So I'm in the studio with him, and he cold with it. He always, the man got a gift. He would always sit there playing, and you know what I'm saying? That's how I learned how to sample. I just sat there and watched them though. I ain't never do hands-on. I learned everything by watching him. So then once I got those mechanics down, I'm like, oh, okay, because I'm technology savvy. So I learned it like that, watching him. Right. So then when I started getting my equipment, now I know how to work the stuff, you know what I'm saying? But now I got to figure out how to get the sound right. I need to, you know what I mean? So I had the 4-track, I had the drum machine. So we was making beats down there. I produced a couple guys down there, you know what I'm saying? They took the beats and went somewhere else, because the production was amateurs in the mud, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm just not really figuring it out. Yeah.
The golden time.
Yeah. Fast forward, while I'm still down there in Champaign, this guy down there named Cam. You know what I'm saying? That's my man to this day. He had a store that he opened up called Mari's Fashions. So he wanted a commercial now I had the 4-track. I had produced an album, a gospel album, my first gospel album that I produced when I was down there. And that's when I learned how to, you know what I'm saying? I had the 4-track, I had and I had a Casio keyboard, and I had just like a regular mic, and I had a drum machine, and I meted it up together and ran it through that. So I made a whole album on the 4-track. This one dude came in, he was like, man, I'm trying to get in the studio with you. Come over there. He was like, okay, man, so what's up? Where the studio at? I said, it's right here, bro. The nigga looked at me. He looked at the equipment. He looked back at me and said, impossible. I said, no, bro, this is what I did everything on. He said, man, you lying. I said, all right. But anyway, so that's how that started. Back to the store. While I'm down there in Champaign, Cam, he wanted a commercial. So for Mari's Fashions, that was the name of the store. So I made the commercial, you know what I mean? He ended up putting it on the radio as a commercial. And everybody from Decatur, from Danville, from everywhere around that whole Champaign started coming all the way to the store because of that commercial.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that showed me, dang, okay, now I got reach. Now I'm learning. You know, I'm really learning how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So then Cam, that nigga, man, he bought some equipment and built a studio in the back and then put a big sign on front of the store, G-Rip Productions. Yeah, that's how it started.
That's how G-Rip Productions was born.
That's how it was really born.
You need to know about G-Rip.
Well, as far as the engineering, I still didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? For real.
Doesn't matter.
You know?
This is the part that's real interesting, y'all, and I want y'all to get this. So tell us about how the whole concept of Concrete Lab came about.
All right, so the story behind Concrete Lab, let's fast forward from Champaign. I was in a joint. One day I'm sitting on the top bunk, because I got the top bunk and I'm up against the wall so I can see everything coming and going. My man's Reggie walk up over there, you know what I'm saying? Because I was always writing. He was sitting up there on the bunk writing. He walked up to me, he was like, hey man, what's up, man? What you in a lab, nigga? What you in a concrete lab? And I said, whoa, wait a minute. He was like, what? I said, that's it. He was like, man, you a bug, nigga. What is you talking about? That's what he said to me. You bugging up, nigga, what you talking about? I said, man, the Concrete Lab, bro. That's the name of that's the name of the movement, the whole thing, Concrete Lab. So he was like, man, what you talking about, man? Explain why you come to Concrete Lab. Now, mind you, I said the bunk was up against the wall. So it was a brick wall. So the bricks, you know, when you put when they build a brick wall, they skew the bricks. You know what I'm saying? So it's this row, and then it's this row, and then it's this row. They all skewed. So when I looked up at the wall, since it's skewed, the bricks made it look like a cross. And when when he said that, I looked up at the wall, the bricks was like a cross, and then it was crazy because it kind of stood out. It was like it came out the wall, and it was like broken pieces or whatever, but it was a cross, and it was made of bricks. So that's where the concrete part came from. And I'm like, dang, so it's a double entendre. Revelation stood out. And then, you know what I'm saying, the lab living above boundary. So Concrete Lab, well, that's where the whole thing, Concrete Lab, came from. So Reggie had a lot to do with that unknowingly. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of organic when he walked up. It was like, what, you in a lab, nigga? You in a concrete lab? We used to always say we surrounded by concrete and steel, man. You know what I'm saying? He was like, boy, you in a concrete lab.
That's what you call one of those stories that's just like. So is this one of those tragedy to triumph stories, and your experience going to prison, did that affect you in any type of negative way, or did you learn from it? You know how they say prisons is supposed to rehabilitate you in a certain type of way, you know, lock your body, but not trap your mind. Like, how did you stay focused? What did you learn from your experience going to prison?
Actually, to be honest with you, man, being able to get locked up and doing that little time, man, was the best thing that ever happened to me. When you're going through life, bro, I'm gonna use this analogy right here. It don't hit home until it hit home. You know what I'm saying? So now, here it is. Before I got locked up, I viewed, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I had a judgment towards people that's been locked up before as a stereotype, and that's based off of society and what people say from the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? Until you go through it, then you really understand. When you become one of them, you know what I'm saying? Now you understand what the whole thing is, and now you get a better understanding of the world, period. Now you can relate to more people because you've been through that. People who have never been locked up cannot relate to the people that have been locked up at all. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of people that
everybody is
myself,
not there for
exactly locked up for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
know.
But I had to go through that in my life
to get that perspective.
To understand, you know what I'm saying, to feel it. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me how cancer feels if you never had cancer. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that certain people go through that others haven't, and they be trying to give them advice. And you know what I'm saying? You cannot give somebody advice on something if you've never been through it.
We were supposed to finish this interview. Well, we kind of elaborate a little bit more on this matter back at the Concrete Lab, so to speak, but you'll have to see that in the stew. So I'm going to stop this right here. This is when all the guests start showing up in the studio, so we really didn't get a chance to finish the interview in its totality because it was gonna be a part 2 to this interview. Happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday to my brother G-Rip. And if I could tell him anything, it would be we had a time. It was a time well spent. I don't have any regrets. You know, I never been one of them type of people that coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know, like just how I was taught and how I was brought up. Like I always gave flowers when you can still smell them. Some people pass away, and I'm gonna be honest, like that's when everybody, oh, that was my boy, or man, boy, I know, man, I just man. But I knew G-Rip on a personal level, and he had very few people that he would call friend. And I heard this out of his mouth. I was blessed to be fortunate to be one of those few in his circle. And we all know who those people are. I want to give a big shout out to Reg, both Reggies, definitely Earth, of course, and like all the designated people. I'm gonna just say that, all the designated people. He's got countless friends. He done came across everybody. Everybody has an interesting G-Rip story and everything like that, but very few people know the man outside of the artist, outside of the producer, outside of the engineer, or whatever you know him for. There's very few people he would allow to come in that circumference. And for those people that know him in that capacity, then you understand what I mean. So I like to kind of tend away, you know, stay away from all of that. Just let people have their moments, but not gonna only speak for myself. And if I could speak from the heart, man, I mean, we had a short time. I've been knowing Rip since I was a kid. It was a long time, but it was a short time at the same time, you know what I'm saying? But for the little time that I did have, I can say definitely it was a time well spent. Definitely we showed love to each other. We had a brotherhood. You know, he allowed me to come into his world as I did mine. And for that, we're gonna definitely keep his memory alive as best as we can. We're gonna definitely preserve my brother's legacy. We definitely gonna preserve him as best as we can. And hopefully you never know, for some of the people, for those that know him, and for those that ever came across the G-Rip, yeah, he has music. He got a lot of music. Hopefully you might have a chance to hear it. You never know what to expect. You know, you just might get a G-Rip album. And I just wanted to give my brother his flowers once again, just like I always have. He knows who had love for him. He knows who didn't. A lot of our private conversations I would never discuss on here, but I'll just keep it to myself. We definitely taught each other a lot of things. He always give me like a crazy amount of credit, and I'm not too good with all that type of stuff. I'm not used to getting flowers or high praise or anything like that, because we both like one of the same. You could say we like kindred spirits in a sense. Like the more I got to know him, the more I saw a lot of similarities in us. Not to mention same zodiac signs and stuff like that. My birthday is coming up too. So birthdays and this time of the year for me really just, it hit different for me. Like, no, like every birthday or anything around my birthday in particular, I usually just reflect more and just be thankful that God allowed me another year, another day to get it right, another day to just be better. And I try to spread that message as he would. I just wanted to, man, make this a special rap report. Y'all can kind of get a brief glimpse into my boy's life while he was still here. And a lot of things he might not have touched on in this piece, because obviously we had a good time. It was a lot of love and fellowship. Again, we're gonna end this on this note. First of all, I don't like using the word rest. It's just hard sometimes to just constantly saying rest in peace, but I would much rather say see you later. Until next time, long live G-Rip. As I would say, long live the Ripper. And it's gonna be that.
It's a 2 quarters. Come on, man. You rub them together, they make 50.
Y'all ready? Hold on. One up to it. One up to it. One time. Cheers. It's my little sister, y'all. One down to it. Fuck those who don't do it. We drink because we used to. Drink.
I'm vouching for Barry also. This guy right here, he just says he wants to be behind the camera.
I just hold the camera.
He's lying. He does hold the camera, but he doesn't.
What did I told? Don't y'all know me from holding the camera?
Man, happy motherfucking birthday to the world. Look. PowerCircle, goddammit.
Hold the camera.
Look, she cold with the motherfucking camera. Look, see how I accomplish this motherfucking real.
Rack report.